boy howdy, time sure does fly. July 11th, 2014, we're now on July 11th, 2024. This isn't gonna be like a huge celebration. I'm not doing the director's commentary yet or anything, but I at least did want to take some time to just kind of sit back and somehow realize that, yeah, it's been like 10 years since Eiyuu showed up on the PeersDC Quest database here. I have no freaking idea how it's been this long, but yeah. So I don't know, the first couple things we were gonna do is kind of chill and watch the old school trailers, and then I do have a quiz that will spoil some of the lore and everything and just kind of get you to think about it maybe in a different light. And then we're gonna go through an original notes document. It did just appear on the database out of nowhere. I didn't really announce this quest to like PeersDC at all. It really did kind of come out of nowhere, and it was lucky enough to at some point be like #1 or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really advertise it at all or do hype or whatever. Pretty much everybody thought I was going to be doing Lost Lineage, which is what we were talking about just before I started up this little discussion here, is that technically the haha funny is that I was advertising Lost Lineage, and then I released Eiyuu. So Lost Lineage hadn't been made yet, but I referred to Eiyuu as a prequel to Lost Lineage, and that drove a couple people like notoriously crazy. Pretty good stuff. But alright, before we get to this song, let's check out the old trailers here. Let's see. Oh man, we got like the old Wind Waker stuff here. My goodness. Oh no. The evil. Can we tempt all the evil, chat? All the old JPEG of the freaking Mask of Truth. I forget what that says. It's just Hylian, but I honestly forget what that says. We should have probably figured that out. There it is! There's Brace Test! Oh my god, Sanskrit. The flange. The eyes. Oh my god. Look, there's scenes that don't appear in the quest. Wow, neither does that one. Duke. There's the spoken house that everybody loves. Oh man. Hit the EX3 button. There's that bombable pillar that nobody ever found. My like little pattern of showing off 2 items. And then Kate drew the picture for this, back when Zello still looked like Link, but everybody else had like a unique design. Oh my goodness, I don't remember what font this is. And then let's see if I think at the very end here, yeah, there it is. Yeah. Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah, July 11, 2014. Holy flid. To be preceded by quite some time, October 27th, 2012, by like the Lost Lineage trailer. I think this one has kind of like a different vibe, I don't know, but you'll kind of see the pattern in how I would like show off things, and then I had this very consistent thing here. The trick, I guess, to this one was that I was listing like every major important Zelda thing, and then I was gonna add on to that list or whatever. Oh man, that forest. Oh, look how awful these dungeons look. They look terrible. I would run through random places and be like, how do I get... Oh, there's Dojan, there it is. Kind of hard to see because of my stupid logo thing, but there was the Dojan. There, the sentry, the incendiary hookshot. See, again, kind of the same pattern. I would pick up a couple things there. Someone named Zoe drew this kind of outline for me. She was supposed to make it more detailed, I think. I don't actually remember. And then at some point I was just kind of like, you know what? Let's like continue to go ahead and we'll just use it. Again, it's kind of hard to see because of the logo, but that same eye symbol is up there. But yeah, so this would have been October 2012, and then Eiyuu, of course, was July 2014. Asterisks, spoilers for later. But yeah, so I don't know. that was gonna do the thing. Well, Akka, you have to remember to smile. That is, you gotta do it. Come on, you gotta do it. But yeah, so there's that. And yeah, so I don't know. It's just kind of very interesting thinking about how long it's been. But yeah, one thing that I did think would be kind of cool is if we went through the like original Eiyuu notes document. And I've got the quest up here on the side. I just am kind of curious how much this diverges. I didn't really read this too much last night when I was thinking about this, but I kind of threw the quest over here on the right-hand side. This is technically where you start when you gain control of Zelos Phoenix. And I was going to see, okay, you know, what's some stuff we can spoil about Eiyuu here as we kind of go along. Let me just double check one small thing before I forget about it, though. Oh, shoot. Hang on. I've actually forgotten to do something. I guess I'll be real with you and just admit I forgot to finish writing one of the quiz questions. So I have to hurriedly come up with something here. All right. I guess I'll just put that there, and I don't know. We'll see if anyone can point it out later. Maybe that was the one I rushed in. All right, but let's not waste too much time here. That way, we don't take like 50 million years on this kind of thing. Someday, maybe I will do the. And when did Teamudf create this question? Yeah. Was it 5 seconds ago? Was it? I have to like partition the timeout perfectly, so it's like 35 minutes and 36 seconds or something. All right, here we go. Walkthrough. So this was like, I was going to try to make notes to myself on how to do a complete walkthrough, but as you'll see, the thing I do remember about this document is all the diverging paths where I'm like, okay, if you have good karma, do this thing. If you have bad karma, do this thing. Because at some point, the illustrious, you know, the cool karma system, oh man, definitely was like really hyped. It actually did a lot more in the draft than it ended up doing in the finale. And then at some point I just kind of like, I basically just removed every aspect of it except like certain things that it needed to count for the endings or whatever. But yeah, okay. So yeah, so Zelos, you know, wakes up here in the Bleak Bunker. Let's see what we got here. All right. Eiyuu starts off in a dark dungeon. Zelos Phoenix is in a prison cell, but the door is open. There's another jail cell with a treasure chest, but a locked door prevents the player from getting it. Zelos can only leave the room. The second screen, okay. The second screen contains 2 directions, up and right. I wish I could fit these just a little bit better. Maybe I'll just zoom out the text a little bit here. That doesn't help the document size, though, huh? All right. See if I can't. That doesn't look too bad. All right. How does this look on OBS? It's like just barely cut off. We should be fine. Okay. All right, the second screen contains 2 directions, up and right. Zelos must avoid a single spike trap to proceed. I guess we also need to connect to chat. Did we literally just drop stream? No, we're fine. It just connected to chat again. All right, he can go up, but the path is blocked by a reverse puzzle to be done later. I guess that's technically true. It's really just you have to hit the button, though. There is, however, a switched-off teleporter. All right, literally the second screen, there's already a divergence. There is no teleporter on that screen. Okay, so Zelos instead heads right. Okay, heading right, Zelos comes to another upright divide. The screen has pots in the upper left corner. Well, that didn't happen. But no weapon, they cannot be broken. If Zelos goes up, he'll come to a money or life room. This is there. Man only asks for 1 heart container or 1 rupee, but Zelos has nothing to offer but his life. He must skip this for now and go to the right again where he finds the infamous spike trap room. This on the right side, I should clarify. You can kind of see it in the file name here. This is the remastered version that I never released, so it will have a couple differences to it, like this push block indicator is not really here. The path is a little more difficult. But, yeah. All right. Let's see here. Several spike traps. Yeah, new room. When Zelos pushes a block, this screen uses a layering trick to prevent the block from needing to be used again on the return trip. Yeah, I guess it's okay. All right, the next room contains the first enemy group. Yeah, the ghosts or whatever. Slow-moving enemies that shoot magic and hone on Zelos. He can push mirrors around to position them to get the enemies to defeat themselves. That's all still there. The nothing trigger, that's right. Room contains a treasure chest, but it cannot be reached. I guess that's technically true. You don't really know ahead of time, though. But yeah. Okay, so Zelos gets the key and returns to the prison. When Zelos tries to proceed, the segment ends and he is warped away. Okay, so that is mostly the same, but obviously I kind of removed some stuff. All right, then we kind of come here. All right. Day 1. Miso Mountains. I don't know if anybody remembers this deep of Eiyuu lore, but the original presentation for Eiyuu was that the game was supposed to take place over the course of like 2 or 3 days as homage to a Way of the Samurai game. And basically, every so often you would be forced to do like some kind of story event, and then the game would progress from like early day to midday to evening, and then it would go to the next day. So every day you would have the chance to do like 3 major story events. I don't know if anyone can make this sound familiar to them. Let's play the music. I don't know if anyone can make this sound familiar to them, but this is basically the same setup I eventually would have had for 2 tribes. It was actually here first. But yeah, so we get the campfire, we get the item, staff, melee wand weapon. Zelos can leave the cave to reveal he's on a snowy mountain. So this, by the way, means that the original scene with Raphael was not there originally. I don't think it was anyway, right? Because we didn't mention it. Yeah, no, it starts off in a dark dungeon. Okay. So there was no, like, Raphael scene originally. Yeah, it's pretty easy, Terra. It's not too bad. Back then, I just had a script give you the extra containers so that you didn't have to pick them up. But you can just easily pop out like a dummy item now, and that would be it. Alright, Zelos can leave. He's on a snowy mountain. He sees an old man with a mysterious cane walking by. Wow, who could that be? The old man is intrigued by the presence of a random boy in this part of the mountain. Zelos states he could say the same. Man wonders if he's homeless. Gives up for redundant, maybe. The old man introduces him as Shino, leader of a dojo. And nearby, Zelos has the chance to pass up on the chance by walking left to go visit him, or can follow the path to the right. Alright, so if we pass, Zelos has other stuff to do. He can venture toward Plergoff to the east at any time. Well, if this happens, go to the A1 node. This is where, like, I'm just gonna kind of read straight down. I'm not gonna jump to any of this crap here. He explores the mountains. He can fend off enemies. There's 50 rupees scattered on the mountain in increments of 10s. Man. That's already, like, way different. What's going on, Scorpio? Alright. And a hidden heart container. Man. Yeah, you can't get, like, any of that anymore. Zelos can find these by obtaining bombs to get into tomb trap caves or looking behind layers. Buried in the side of the mountain is a game house offering tickets to You Have to Burn the Rope. Here he meets Carnelia, a girl working at the store while she's visiting family. It's 5 rupees per try, but Zelos can also pay 20 rupees for a free try and a blue candle. I don't think I got this to work, right? I think you actually have to buy the candle separately, so I never actually got this to pan out that way. Carnelia warns he should have a candle to play the game. Okay, I see. Alright. Zelos ponders that if he plays, the rewards could help him, but if he does play, there probably won't be enough time to do anything else. So yeah, so this was an event, basically, that if you played the game... Imagine, like, for all the difficulty some of you had playing You Have to Burn the Rope in this quest, right? Some of you tirelessly, like, suffered in that minigame. Imagine it also, like, counting against you in terms of the time mechanic that I had planned originally for the quest. This would have driven so many people insane, this freaking minigame. Okay, as soon as Zelos enters a round of the minigame, except the dojo is closed by a carryover secret. So yeah, so I was locking things here as you made decisions. Alright, Zelos can try the minigame until out of money or decides to leave. He can get a heart piece. Once Zelos leaves the game house, Carnelia follows. She talks about how she doesn't know how the family can afford to keep the place running. Zelos has been the first customer since getting here 3 days ago. But she needs the money to buy her own place in Westmore, a town on the other side of the Miso Mountains. Anyone remember Westmore? Anyone remember Westmore? It's a snow town in Lost Lineage. She asks Zelos what he's doing here. Zelos just mentioned she's an explorer. This is kind of similar. She invites him over for dinner, though, which is a little bit different. if he wants a place to rest afterwards. She thinks the restaurant here is too pricey. This not even a restaurant anymore, but yeah, he'll consider it. Zelos gets the Met Carnelia item in his inventory. This builds a strange event system where if Zelos has this item, he can bypass a guard NPC and reach Carnelia's house later down the road. If he doesn't have the item, he can't make it to the event. This is kind of similar. It's like, it kind of works out the same way. It's like this rock is blocking the way to her house. I just needed some stupid check to make sure you could get to Carnelia's house or whatever. It's about the same thing. Alright, so Zelos can explore or talk to Carnelia. Carnelia mentions the museum. If anyone remembers, Kate did the dialogue for Carnelia in the museum. I just gave her the gist. I said, here's an item that you would see in a museum. What reaction would you have to the item in the museum? And whatever Kate said about the item was the dialogue that I gave Carnelia in Eiyuu. So there you go. Zelos can also purchase the first rare trinket from the gift shop. First of 2 chances. Yeah, so again, everything was kind of like, yeah. Zelos can go in a restricted room and see the mirror tunic and the warning about it. Zelos can leave the museum at any time. Go to the meeting. Alright, on the other hand, if Zelos accepts the invitation to Shino's dojo, the Explore Mountains Path event is closed. If Zelos starts at the Explore Mountains Path and later decides to venture into town, Explore Mountains is also closed. Zelos gets an accepted invitation item if he goes here instead. Shino welcomes him from afar, telling him to look around as he gets everything prepared. He reminds Zelos to mind his manners in different color. Pretty sure this just has to do with the karma system and everything. Zelos can take a heart piece from a bedroom. This is not in the current version. And number 1 for bad karma with dojo run. Look, so like, I have no idea how he's going to put all this together. I started doing it. I did not get very far. But look at this crap. There's like, you can do bad karma. You can do bad karma with dojo. You can do bad karma with Carnelia. I have no idea how I was going to have the patience to set all this up, dude. This would have been an absolute... Oh, Rainstorm said it in chat. Nightmare. Yeah. This would have sucked. Okay, removes an item from Sanskrit. Eventually, this heart piece just kind of became the flippers. Because, look! You used to be able to buy the flippers from Azora's dojo store. Yes, they completely, like, flipped, dude. You could just have purchased the flippers in Eiyuu at some point. This is a carryover, removes an item from Sanskrit, of course. Alright. As Zelos enters the dining room, exploration mode ends. He's introduced to the other members of the Saito clan. Does anyone remember why I named the Saito clan members their name? Fawn, Sat. Janus is not really special. Janus is just name, but Sat was supposed to be Satellite. Fawn was supposed to be Spaceman Dan at the time. So I named them after people from the community at the time. Alright, Zelos thanks Shino for the meal. Shino invites him to spar with some of his students. If Zelos does so and wins, he's included in the heart container gift Shino has for the other clan members, though Zelos will question why he's getting one. If Zelos wins the match against Janus, he gets the 1 spar item, and Janus seems upset that some random guy beat him, and kind of similar. This is just earlier, though. You couldn't spar this early, I'm pretty sure. I think you have to do brace test first to actually spar. If Zelos loses, Janus seems particularly confident that he's still the best student at the dojo. Alright, Zelos has other things to do. Go to the meeting. Zelos goes outside Playergoth to find Raphael, a wizrobe, waiting for him. It's our boy. Raphael is surprised. Zelos is on time, but Zelos blows it off and asks him if he scouted it. This is kind of the same cutscene. Not too much happens here. They talk about the Mask of Truth. Zelos goes to Winterfell Path. You can find 20 rupees by a waterfall. I am pretty sure I don't know what that is supposed to be. I don't know. There's a waterfall here, but you can't get 20 rupees from it, so I don't know. The flippers are available, so search me, dude. I don't know. You can find a heart piece in a cavern by solving a short teleport maze. That does not exist. Alright, we're checking things for good karma, bad karma, I don't know. Number 2, if you have to burn the rope run. I don't remember what all this terminology or notation means. But you can get the wood boomerang in an abandoned house outside Sanskrit Temple. This house, of course, does not exist. There is no house over here. And the wood boomerang got moved to the shop where you first originally spawned, so, yeah. Zelda's Confined Brace Death Sanctuary at the top right. This is level 1 regardless of good karma or bad karma, or you have to burn the rope runs. Alright, let's see what we got here. Pretty sure most of this is gonna... Alright, Zelda sees a boss lock block and go up for a view, or right, that's true. You can do all that. This is the remastered version, though, where once you come over to get the first key, I just give you a button that gives you a nice little shortcut. Because it kind of bothered me that people had to keep walking all the way around the dungeon in order to get back over here, so that was just kind of a little thing I was annoyed by. Alright, let's see. Strange gap in the middle of the room. The path contains a strange shining combo. Not quite past self. Not quite. Screen 3, NES dungeon screen. The strange gap ends abruptly. The middle top of the room is filled out. There's gels. Defeating them opens the left shutter door. Yeah, this all seems fine. Yeah, you have to burn the rope as a completely separate timeline. Yeah. I don't know, dude. It's crazy. Up has a locked door. There's some Tektites that reveal the staircase to be one. The infamous Eiyuu, just brutal Tektites that jump all over people. In a bad karma run, if Zello stole the money from the dojo and bought the flippers, he can swim in the water directly to screen 7. Alright. Zelda enters B1, which has a layer of darkness and or a darker palette, which is also true. We can head there right now. Alright, there's a thin hallway heading left and is filled with ropes, but has a healing fairy statue in the top right corner. I'm kind of surprised I bothered to write out all these details. Like, it's just like an overkill of what you need to present here. Alright. Top left contains a staircase to screen 7. Yeah, that's there. And it doesn't sound like there's any other screens here. No, screen 7 go down. This is a trivial... Yeah, trivial kill all enemies room with 20 rupees. That's still there. That's right below here. That goes to this guy. This is a carryover and removes progressively bigger rewards from future visits. So, as far as I can remember, this room... The reward for money was supposed to get larger the longer you left it there. I have no idea how I was going to do that in 250. I don't have a strong memory of that. But yeah, if you like came back on day 2... Oh, you know what? I bet all the days of the dungeons were actually just like separate maps. I probably didn't have any fancy trick for that. So like the day 2 dungeon was probably just a completely different map or whatever. Yeah, there was no way anybody would figure this out, I agree. Okay, we'll get to some more familiar stuff here, though. Yeah, stairs or swim. Just no details about it. Oh, no, here we... No, I don't know. All right. Oh, no, this is... okay, arrows on the ground leading to a jump combo. Where Zealous can learn how to cross pits. Yeah. He must do it once more to reach the door on the right. Small change. I guess I wanted you to do it a bunch of times. Oh, bye-bye. Okay. Okay, Zealous can get the small key. He may return there however he wishes. I guess, I don't know. I just expected you to either go around or go through all the way to the basement. I don't know why I did this. It's such like a bad... It's such a bad thing. So, again, this button here is for the remastered version. Dark4 got to play it, but nobody else really did. Alright, Zealous can unlock the door going up to screen 9. Alright, there's moving spike traps in an Aquamentus, so this room, this infamous room. Door going up. Zealous can fight the Aquamentus to get to the right, but there's nothing stopping him from skipping this challenge other than the allure of what's behind the mystery door. A heart piece in a small room, but of course we originally have here the heart container that you actually get now. And then just... Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the second heart piece if you're on good karma, the third heart piece if you're on bad karma. Okay, I understand the notation now. I remember it finally. Okay. I cannot believe I was counting all this. This is ridiculous. Alright, it's just insane. Alright. Okay, we get to, not the Mask of Truth, but a book. He decides to take and can't read it, so he decides to bring it Raphael, but approaching the book triggers one of the temple's defenses. Boss 1, the Sentinels! Not my boy Mothula, the Sentinels! Sentinels are armos that move rapidly and shoot arrows in 4 directions. Zealous can find respawning bomb drop enemies in the corners and can use bombs to stun the Sentinels. 5 melee attacks with the staff will bring down the Sentinels and open the way to the book. So yeah, I must have at some point just commissioned the Mothula or whatever. Mothula, my boy, was not originally in here. As a matter of fact, the best that I can remember, all the bosses that I had in the quest were actually just awful. like, enemy editor garbage. And then Moosh got really mad that I wasn't just scripting bosses or whatever. And so then he just kind of, like, started making me bosses. He was like, you're not doing this with, like, enemy editor bosses. And I'm like, okay, fine. I think I had, like, the Armos Knights from Safeth's script or whatever. And then Moosh was like, you can't just have one scripted boss. This is, I'm doing this or something. Which infamously led to me telling him, just do, you know, just do, make a boss that's like, it's impossible, basically. And that was how Kaoru came to be. Alright. Night 1, Player Goth Town. I'm not reading all that crap. This is the final time heart container progress will be tracked in these notes as the possibilities begin to exponentially increase from here. I did not remember this was here. I just quit out, dude. Oh, no. That's actually amazing. I did not remember that was in here. Oh, Zelos meets up with Raphael. They're flustered. There's a snag in finding the Mask of Truth. Raphael wonders if the book has any information on how to traverse more of the sanctuary. While Raphael takes the book and goes off with it. So yeah, so Zelos didn't keep the book the entire time here. Of course, in the actual version you play, it just gives you the access to magic or whatever. But yeah. Zelos has some time to look around the town and mountains. There's a number of things he may or may not be able to do, depending on whether he accepted Shino's invitation or met Carnelia. Zelos notes he probably has enough time to do either. Alright, let's see what we got here. Option 1, check on Carnelia. If Zelos met Carnelia and played the minigame, the fence blocking Carnelia's house is gone and he can access her house. Strangely, her house is empty and he ponders where she could be. Zelos can either choose to ignore her disappearance or go toward the west and look for her because maybe she's in the game house. Going toward the west ends Explore Player Goth. He can check on Shino and take up his offer to head to the dojo. If he has the accepted invitation, Shino welcomes back. If he's also got the one Spar item, Janice is not happy to see Zelos, but Shino has to calm him down. If Janice can't resist and asks Zelos for a rematch, which Zelos is forced to accept. Which does not happen, of course. If he wins the second match... let's see, another student pokes fun at him, but Janice dismisses himself in anger. I guess no reward, huh? This is a dummy item, that's not really a reward. If this is the first time Zelos has been in the dojo, Shino will introduce Zelos to Janice, and he goes, oh my god, this is just... The branching paths, dude. Okay, Shino invites Zelos to join them in their festival, but Zelos seems disinterested. Shino then invites Zelos to the main chamber with his students, but Janice is not present regardless of the outcomes. Everybody stands in the chamber, and Shino explains. What did Shino explain? Probably something about the blood sword. Probably something about Duke. I don't know. But that's the end of that note, so I mean, bye-bye. Alright, Zelos can also mingle around town for bonus items and side events. Yeah, I wanted, like... several different houses. You would have like little side quests or something. Oh, here's one. One townsperson has an infestation problem in the cellar. You can get heart pieces. Wait, but I counted them here. I don't know. Did I ignore my own notes? Who the flit knows at this point? The museum's open where Zelos can hear rumors of the mirror tunic if he missed the chance to see it. The mirror tunic, which greatly influences your extreme personality traits and then inverts them. So if you're a very calm, happy person, you become like a very aggressive, angry person, just kind of like a dinky example. Zelos can purchase the rare trinket. Okay. We can ignore all this garbage and go to the west. Alright, Zelos enters Myso Mountains. The other crap closes. Zelos leaves Player Goth and goes back to where his initial campfire was. Okay, so this does mention the initial campfire. I guess I don't know then. Okay, he can find several treasures. Man in the Sop is selling another wooden boomerang in the initial cave. A blue potion. A blue potion, man. And I guess you can find 20 rupees. Okay. One Zelos. I'm not sure what blue potion means here because both the potions are blue. Blue was originally 2, I think. In Z1, it's like... I don't know. I think that's what that means. I think it's a 2-gulp potion. Alright, Zelos heads into the game house. He finds wreckage inside and thinks the area is suspicious. I just did not bother to do this. Exploring the game house, he finds some mysterious knights walking around that he can defeat for 5 rupees apiece. They don't respawn. So you can kind of see I was still on my kick of, like, the money or whatever. Alright, Zelos enters the back Oh, the back rooms, chat. Finally, the back rooms now. Okay. Carnelia is threatened by two brutes who are demanding she hand over some kind of sacred heart. I think this is more explicitly stated in here, but it's kind of like implicit in the current one, isn't it? I don't think the knights mention anything about what they're looking for. Carnelia looks for the sacred heart, so I guess that kind of flipped around or something, I don't remember. Zelos helps out and defeats the two knights. Oh, dear God. Okay, let's see. If Zelos already met her, he advances to event 2. Carnelia's dialogue is more geared toward already knowing Zelos, and she's glad he happened to show up here again. She forgot to grab something in the shop, and the knights came in to rough her up about a sacred heart. She has no clue what it is or where it is. Interesting, so she didn't even know what it was in this version. Okay. It's like one of her family's sacred treasures or whatever in the current version. If Zelos meets her for the first time... Okay, this isn't too bad, actually. Alright. Invites her back to the place for food. In either case, Zelos goes to Carnelia's house to get a heart container, which that definitely doesn't happen anymore. Alright, in case 1, Carnelia asks Zelos if he knows those guys. Zelos says no. Car states she saw more of them roaming around the area, but didn't think much of it until went to the back room and was ambushed. Zelos... Okay, this all seems about the same here. Zelos tells Carnelia to be more careful. Okay, we go to Raphael's findings, which is just not even... This just never even became a scene. Alright, Zelos meets Raphael outside the house in the entrance to Winterfall Path. Raphael is able to translate the book, and it has nothing to... Oh, wait a minute, it just got moved here? Interesting, so you get the book back, but then you still do the magic stuff. Okay, so I just, like, cut out this entire segment, which makes sense, because there was no need for the event system to even be tracking it anymore. Alright, so then you get the magic power, I suppose. Alright, Zelos wonders if it'll get him further embraced as Sanctuary. They'll have to search for magic containers in the morning. My goodness. And then that, this is definitely, like, way different, though. Because you don't get to the bunker until, like, after the Duke chase scene in Sanskrit. But I guess I had Zelos go to sleep here, and you automatically go back to the Bleak Bunker in this case. Alright, let's see if we get anything interesting here. Red text tells Zelos to wake up. Zelos is once more in the jail cell, but now that the money or life room is gone, he can proceed. He has to cross the old rooms necessary to make it to the next part of the bunker. Zelos can go up. Zelos can go left or up right. I guess that's kind of similar. If he goes upright, Zelos finds the other segment of the hall where we fought the magic fiends with their own mirrors, so I kind of had some different screen designs in mind, I guess. Gap is large, and though it has a jump combo, it's too far for Zelos to reach. I'm 1 over, that's the problem. Okay, I see what happened. I'm 1 over. It's too far for Zelos to reach. Okay, so it is the same. Corridor heads left and up. There's a door on the left. Oh, interesting. Yeah, this just goes straight down. This doesn't go anywhere. Path going up as well. Gibdos may impede his path. There are dark nuts here now currently. They can be destroyed with offensive equipment. The screen is relatively small and has a locked door with a telepathic message block that mentions 1 key and 2 doors. Path going up, another intersection left and right. I think that's the crow room. This leads to the huge main chamber. This may span more than 1 screen. Well, spoilers, I know that doesn't happen. There are pits that seem to prevent progress with strange statues surrounding a particular part of the pit. Yeah, this definitely never happened. Alright. There's a door that leads to the other locked area, but has a shutter. The top door is also locked. Eventually going toward something. Anyway, Duke is here. Woo! What a great walkthrough. Anyway, it's time for Duke. So I guess I never finished any of that. And then, I guess a remastered note here is I added fairy fountains hanging out in the bunker here because people would get here and get wiped and they would have to go all the way back to the original. So I put this fairy fountain here so that when you come here for the second time, you can just kind of heal up instead of having the 1/4 heart remaining. But yeah, I'm also certain these aren't here as well. I think these are also remastered only. Alright, Duke and his forces march down toward the town. Duke remarks, it seems like a good day to spill some blood. He doesn't want to see any slack in his... Yeah, okay, so that seems about the same. Zelos wakes up thinking about needing magic containers. If Zelos has progressed through Carnelia's story in full, he wakes up in Carnelia's house, who states she's going to try to find more about the Sacred Heart. So this Sacred Heart just had like a mainstay in the story, apparently, in this version. There must have been like a full route that you could complete for Carnelia that eventually culminates in the Sacred Heart thing. So it probably eventually gets to the same cave where you get it or whatever. Which is weird, because I don't think I added that cave until like later iterations, so I don't have a clue. Maybe this like fully dumped out of the quest and then came back in. I'm not actually sure. Also, it's a Binding of Isaac reference. I forget if I mentioned that. Alright, Carnelia, okay. Zelda has neither Carnelia item. No, Joash, you're gonna miss the good stuff. Make sure to watch it later, Joash. We'll see you later, though. Thanks for stopping by. My boy, Joash. Who owns the world record of Eiyuu speedrunning currently? Okay. Death of the New Girl, yeah. Okay, if Zelos leaves town to go the Winterfall Path. Explore... Okay, here we go. We're closing stuff off again. Zelos does not interact with any of the other main characters in this entire section, but is able to access Sanskrit Temple an entire day early. Even on a bad karma run, accessing Sanskrit early gives Zelos an item. We can get a magic container as well, apparently. The Sacred Heart enchantment either provides 2 heart containers or can power up the wand. Okay, so I must have not decided yet. This seems like just kind of a note to myself. And then obviously the 2 heart container thing kind of got mimicked by the... What is it called? The Soulless Heart? The garbage bad karma reward in the current release. Alright, rupee counts and prizes. Oh, okay. Alright. Heart container checklist. Defeat the Aquamentus, defeat Janus, defeat Eisen, and level 4. So there's Brace Dust, there's Sanskrit, and then there's the Flunge. That's 3. I don't know what level 4. Like, obviously this is referring to the Flunge as level 4. I guess I don't know what 3 was supposed to be then. Okay. Alright. Have good karma versus Red Candle. Win the you have to be the Rokim. Oh, man. Level 3 could be Brace Test Part 2. Defeat Duke in level 5? This has to be Brace Test. Maybe that's what's happening here. I don't think Duke was ever anywhere else. You also don't ever get a heart container from Duke in this one. Interesting. Possible miss depending on one-time events or oh my god. Okay, so let's see. You can miss 5 heart containers out of 8. That's... We were going pretty hard, apparently. Alright. Heart piece checklist. Let's see. My goodness. Blood notes and stuff. Defeat the Land Moles and Super Moldorm. Hey! Everybody knows about that Super Moldorm now. My goodness, he was still here. Trial of Sacrifice. Bad Karma specific heart pieces. These are regular heart pieces. Stardust Scepter versus Spikes. Interesting. Flippers. Okay, so Flippers... Alright, Flippers were still bad because you stole the money to buy it. I guess? That doesn't make any sense, though. Because you could just have the money to buy the Flippers. So... Is this a different list of notes? Is this the same draft of the quest? This is very interesting to me because clearly you don't have to steal the money to buy the Flippers. You can just get other money to buy the Flippers. Huh. I wonder. The Soulless Heart container adds 8 heart pieces. Hey, there it is. Alright. Okay, and then this is... This looks... Oh, this just looks like the thing that I posted to Pure. Like... Yeah, this is just like all the stuff I would have posted when I actually uploaded the quest. Okay, alright, so we did it. So, yeah, that could be why this cut off suddenly. I don't know. That does seem to be it. That does seem to be it. So yeah, this must all be from like a more current version. Probably the version that eventually ended up getting uploaded. I'm not too sure. One requires a fire boomerang. No, man. Skull statue in 245. Let's go to 245 really fast. Huh. Okay. That's probably this heart, what became this heart piece, yeah. I guess that kind of makes sense. Or Zephyr Fife? This just opens with magic now, though. Interesting. This is definitely like a much earlier version. Well, I mean, there was no dungeon that had both Land Molas and Super Moldorm, so... That freaking Super Moldorm, dude. But yeah, so that might be the end of those notes. Let me open Notepad really quick, because I thought I had one other thing. Oh, I was actually going to try to do something similar with the Lost Lineage story, but I realized that we've already done it before. I was able to find the notes, but I think in the interest of time, we're having fun and everything, but in the interest of time, I guess I'll just tell you that at some point, I went through a lot of the original spoilers of the Lost Lineage story in Non-Stop Discussion episode 153, which, on Twitch, which, funny enough, 153 was like my favorite math course ever to teach. I guess it still kind of is, but yeah. So that was a good one. I unfortunately it didn't seem like I put the text on the screen though, but yeah. Okay. So yeah, just, I guess a few kind of crazy differences and maybe, I don't know, something a little interesting, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as exciting or spicy as I was hoping it would be, but that was a lot of fun to look back through all the old memories of what the quest might have been at some point, I suppose. See the trailers and whatnot. I don't know, I guess we could talk about, we could talk about some of the changes in the remastered version. Oh wait, doesn't ZC have its own, Yeah, there we go. We can kind of get a better look at the screen now. Okay, so yeah, some of the other changes in, like, the remastered version, mostly the remastered version would have attempted to, like, fill in some missing things that I wanted from the quest. Like, you would have been able to do more with the whole Mirror Tunic storyline. I remember 2015, I eventually wanted to update the quest. I was going to call it, like, the Ultimate Evil Update or whatever, and it was supposed to add an ending to the quest where you could basically just tell both the Saito clan and the Bloodsword to go screw themselves, and you would obtain the Mirror Tunic and become, like, the unholy Zelos Phoenix or something. Kind of put a little bit of edge behind that. I'm certain I called him the unholy Zelos Phoenix. That's not like a playful term or whatever, or informal language. I am dead certain that I just had that title for him at some point. But yeah, and I know that because it actually comes from an old Skyrim skit that I was going to do. I originally was going to have a Skyrim, like, 3-part machinima series where Zelos was a little bit edgy and turned heel or whatever because of some, like, cursed item. Maybe even the Mirror Tunic, I don't remember, but yeah, he was supposed to be whatever the flid. But yeah, so you could have possibly done that at some point. And then I was just going to attempt to add a couple more dungeons. Which, the one dungeon room, Elise's house, this name confused a lot of people because everyone was like, why is it called this? It was named after a card that I was having one of my main characters in one of my stories use, but I didn't make it clear that it was just the house of someone named Elise. People just thought like the dungeon name was literally Elise or whatever. So, yeah, but this is the infamous one-room dungeon. Maybe someday I'll do another one-room dungeon with all the new 255 features, who the flid knows. That all kind of seems like it could be kind of crazy, but yeah. Rainstorm's got the link for 153 there. Those of you on maybe watching on YouTube later who either want to just type that in or something, but yeah. If you're interested. But, yeah. Okay. This was going to be a new arrow secret. You shoot the arrow, form a bridge across here. I think this might just be for a magic container. Yeah. You get a magic container from doing the Stardust Scepter, I guess on this one. This must be, yeah, this just leads to a treasure chest. Yeah. But yeah, so I kind of added the Gorons here because what I was going to do, as a matter of fact, I guess this cave's entrance just is not correct because this is, I think a dungeon is supposed to be there, isn't it? I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a dungeon here that Elise is just stuck inside because all the Gorons treat her as like a big tough hero. She's like this big adventurer who doesn't take crap from anybody. And so I was gonna add the detail that because she's like strong and tough and everything, the Gorons find like a lot of respect for her and everything. So they were gonna be looking for her. You could go hunt her down in the dungeon or whatever. But yeah, there's another bird hiding back here. Y'all remember the birds? I just think I moved a couple birds in the remastered version. But yeah, what other like immediate things could I think of about the remastered version to fix? The trivia that Sanskrit originally was just the first floor, by which I mean this first basement. It was only a few rooms large. You can kind of see the new red-blue switches from the remastered version and everything in here. But this staircase was not originally here. It was basically just, you kind of do this really small, goofy dungeon and get the Stardust Scepter, and then you just immediately go fight Duke. The Duke sprites here, courtesy of Sir Storm. I think I finally didn't mess that up. I kept forgetting who made the Zello sprites and who made... I'm pretty sure... Yeah, Moosh made the Zello sprites, and I guess I thought he did Duke for whatever reason as well. But I just kind of kept forgetting that Rainstorm did Duke. I have no idea why this happened. You can kind of take a new look at some of the other things Rainstorm did. Here was the Stardust Scepter. I was eventually going to have both elemental hook shots in the quest. So the Incendiary and the Arctic. I'm pretty sure all three hook shots are supposed to be here. So this is like the regular, the Incendiary, and then the Arctic. Just a mess of hook shots, like holy flid, in the remaster. Honestly, like, too much of a stretch. Like, I think this would have been a bad idea, having all of them. Rest of the subscreens all look similar and everything. But yeah, getting back to my original point, I guess I decided at some point for the 2-week version that this dungeon just sucked too much. And so I added that entire basement with like the big long-winded sequence to go get one small key or whatever. And yeah, a lot of this ended up being cheese. You can actually just skip this entire basement segment if you're really good at speedrunning the game. Pretty hilarious stuff, actually, not gonna lie. I don't think the flunge changed too much. I probably just marked blocks a little bit better. All this looks the same. Yeah, I think I just marked blocks a little bit better. These finally let you know that you can't push down, because that was kind of confusing a lot of people. They thought they were 4-way blocks, so they tried to like cheese the puzzle by coming back in and pushing them down or whatever. But yeah. I would have probably remade Bracedust from scratch in the remaster. I don't think this is nearly that old, though. Let's see if it is. Is there... No, map 41 is blank, so that's not even this old. The one new dungeon that did get included, though, kind of. I say kind of because you can kind of tell by these lovely sheep that I think address Dark 4 directly because he was the one playing at the time. Let's go to 1154 here and find out. Does this just say, like, yeah, hi Dark 4, this isn't done yet, so you'll have to come back. But remember, this is here just in case. Basically, Dark 4 started playing Eiyuu, and I decided to take the opportunity to try to work on Eiyuu Remastered at the same time, and Dark 4 would just kind of be my live playtester, so that I could fix up Eiyuu Remastered, and then the gist would be that I would finish it as he was playing it. So anyway, that didn't happen, but this is the Veined Tomb, which is a dungeon that I actually ripped right out of Lost Lineage. You know, as I kind of went back and forth over the years trying to figure out how would I fuse Eiyuu and Lost Lineage together to just kind of finish the story up or whatever. And so one of the ideas I had was to take some Lost Lineage dungeons and put them into this quest. This is the first one. The other one I alluded to with Elise is the second one. Kinda, sorta. It would have included a different path to get back to Bracedust, which I'm not too sure if I would have liked this path or not. It's kind of okay. It's kind of like an optional connecting path where like a bunch of dungeons connect to one another, but yeah, I don't know. It was an alright idea. So yeah, Dark 4 is the only person who got to play this variant of the dungeon. There's like a sun-moon door mechanic going on here. Every time you cross a moon path, the rooms go dark and the moon doors close. If the light's there, it's kind of vice versa with the sun doors and the moon doors and everything. There's some really cool tricks. Not in this room, I guess. Yeah, there's some really cool tricks. One of my favorite tricks in all of ZC, to get this, like, infinite string of spikes to kind of go through the room, because you'd be like, well, this doesn't seem possible or whatever. It actually is possible. It's a very easy trick, too. If I remove layer 6 here and start playing it again, you'll be able to see what actually happens. Maybe not. Maybe I'm lying. How many layers do I have to remove to make this work? Let's see. Maybe you can't see it. Maybe, did I hide it like that well that you can't see it? I thought these were visible. Maybe these weren't the visible ones. I know there's like one iteration of this that's visible. There it is. Okay, I think I just had to like remove all of them. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, 255 is bringing the layers back when I preview. Oh, you can't see this anymore in the preview. Interesting. But yeah, so I shoot the spikes around the edges of the screen and everything. It's the same trick I used for that dungeon preview in Lost Lineage way back in the day. I'm sure I've shown it off before, but I guess you can't see it in like the preview anymore. That's kind of disappointing. Oh, okay. Yeah. So these would stick you out. The left entrance goes here now, where you used to get half magic. And then the right entrance, I think it's here, right? There's a right entrance that pops out here, and it uses this one here. Some people might remember this as being like a small dinky purple room where you get an upgraded bow or a quiver. And then there's like this weird message in Hylian that says like this is unfinished or something like that. I decided to just put that count in there. And crazily, the way this worked out is I got it to be 1-to-1 screen ratio. So like this entrance and this entrance are lined up exactly the same number of screens that these two entrances are, despite the fact that the dungeon was made in a completely different quest. The way I got it to work was this whole dark area used to be a basement, and really you would enter the dungeon from here. So instead of having a basement, I just kind of tacked on the basement segment into here, and then I was just like, okay, now my screen count works or whatever. Did it have to be done? No, not really. Some of you might also recognize the Veined Tomb as being the dungeon that this originally was the entrance. You can kind of tell because it's still got the fancier door. Oh, I guess I put one here too. But yeah, this actually used to be the entrance to the dungeon. And this dungeon went back and forth in Lost Lineage as I tried to decide, should you start on the left side or should you start on the right-hand side? I guess the right side being here in the Lost Lineage version. So this dungeon went through quite a few iterations, and every time I changed my mind, I had to redesign the pathing of the dungeon so that it could be done in the intended direction. Like, okay, are you going left-right or are you going right-left? Just a mess of stuff here. There's more sheep. Bah, they have the same string. Yeah, they get the same string. Okay. More sheep for Lord Spooderford. But yeah, so that's like the main dungeon. For what it ended up being an Eiyuu Remastered, it led to a couple things. You could get 4 heart pieces from in here so that you could finish out that 16th darn heart container. And you could get introduced to the Estelle character, who was a character that I originally wanted you to have to choose between her and Carnelia in Lost Lineage, kind of in a similar fashion that you were supposed to choose between Carnelia and... What was it? How did I do this in Arpaga, actually? It was Carnelia and Aaron or something, right? There was like a statue of truth or a statue of untruth or something like that. It was supposed to... Those were all supposed to be references to one another. I can't remember how it was going to be set up, but all those things were going to behave similarly. And then at some point in the dev cycle of the series, I was just like, this is kind of silly because the player already spends a ton of time with Carnelia in one quest. So why in the second quest would you introduce a second character and then force the player to choose between the character you've been with or like the new character or whatever? It didn't kind of make any sense to me. So I just decided that she could be like our age. She accidentally gets locked in this this back room because her father's an idiot. Who's her father, you might ask? It's the guy with the explosive personality. It's the super bomb vendor. You can reveal this staircase here to get between the veined tomb and the super bomb vendor from Eiyuu. It's got the guy with the milk and the cave and everything. So it's this cave here that goes right over here. So I tried to just make the veined tomb literally a vein for the Winterfall Path overworld here. It would connect to a bunch of different areas and everything, and you could go a bunch of different places and end up in different parts of the world or whatever. Here's another one that disappears right into the back room of the Flunge. So if you came back here in some way first, you could actually access the wallet without, like, finding the secret path in Ixen's room or whatever. The idea was to maybe try to get the player to have a couple different experiences depending on how they were playing. So, like, you could find some really cool bonus items if you wander around this bonus dungeon first, because besides, like, a sword upgrade, the Veined Tomb doesn't really have any other purpose to it. There's, like, this big ominous room at the top here. This was probably supposed to be more important in the Lost Lineage version. I couldn't tell you what it was supposed to be. Maybe it had to do with Duke or the Queen of Hail or something like that. I honestly don't remember. So in Eiyuu Remastered, you probably would have just used it to, like, get a sword finally or something like that. But yeah, so a very weird dungeon, but it was like I'd spent so much time building this in Lost Lineage that I was just like, I want to, include this in something that I know will actually get played. So air quotes. So I threw it in Eiyuu Remastered, and I guess it technically did get played because Dark 4 did go through it, but oh man, it got played by one person. Hooray! The Infinite Money Room. There's a reset switch in this room for part of the puzzle. There it is. So this chest of 5 rupees will just respawn infinitely. If memory serves me correctly, this should have been a 20 chest originally, and then when Dark 4 did it, I was like, oh, I probably should lower the value of that infinite money because 20 is, like, really good. It might tempt people less to go around. So then in that case, I don't even know why it's here. It's just a thing, I suppose. But yeah. So I know, so very, very fun here. I can't remember too much else that might be changed. I don't think, like, truth is any different or whatever. This all looks the same, the warp maze and stuff. There's maybe some different colors here. This doesn't quite look colored the same way I remember it being. Just look at this. You just go up from here. There's a cutscene, but I gave you the side warp to make sure you end up in the correct spot. The Infinite Hall. Yeah, this, I don't think truth is, like, changed at all. Truth was probably one of the better things I designed in terms of, like, evil. It doesn't really mess with you. Oh, I extended... Oh, Joash would have been so upset because I extended this lock block to fit through here. I think he cheeses through this path in the speedrun to get over here without having to spend the second key. Eiyuu Remastered must have closed that off. I must have noticed it at some point finally. That's actually really funny. So you would actually have to get the second key now. It's not too hard though, right? Because you just bring the boots over here, you hit the switch, and then... I don't know. It doesn't... Oh, but you can't unlock it from this angle. So then you have to still come back around. It's not that much of an annoyance. You get warped back up to the start from here, so you just run up a bunch of screens, I guess, yeah. And I guess that might be the only small difference, really. I made this jump a little easier because it drove people nuts in the original, and then if you hit this button, it makes it even easier on repeat goes. And then, boy howdy, The Room. The Room by Teamudf was so over here. This, this legendary room has given probably just about everybody. I have seen... Dark 4 got mad at this room. I've seen a lot of Joash's speedruns end in this room. Back in the day, Evan's group was just driven mad by this room. Gets, like, everybody, dude. The room requires you to have so much patience, and people just don't have patience. And every once in a while, the statue just trolls the heck out of you. It'll just shoot at different intervals. It'll stop shooting just long enough for you to believe that you can go push that next piece of block, and then it just fires a slew of magic at you, dude. This room is the devil for most people, I would assume. It's not the hardest room in the game, but it is, like, the most negatively impacting room in the game. Like, for sure. The infamous, can you shoot through the walls in 251? There was something bad about using FFCs or, I don't know, shooting at the edge of the screen or something. So in 251, you actually can't get the best ending because the edge of the room just won't spawn. It just won't spawn the walkway. It's physically impossible to make it there in 251. I don't know why, but 252 fixed it, so I guess it's not a huge deal. But every once in a while, I would get like a message or a notification that someone had played the quest on 251, and they were like, what the flid do I do at the end of truth? I can't get through. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know, because I didn't expect that to happen. It worked in 250. It worked in 252. Somehow 251 was apparently a magical time. I never used it very much myself, but it seems to be, that seems to be the case, Sir Storm, I would say, yeah. Apparently it is the best version of ZC. My favorite part is I was just using whatever screen. This is a Duke cutscene, but if you go left of the screen, it just sends you to the man with the birds. Truth is just actually literally using whatever space was available on the map. I think all these screens were blank by the time I was here, and I was just like, all right, screw it. This is just the shape of the Truth dungeon now. And then I just filled in whatever made sense, and somehow made it work, I guess. It's a tough dungeon, and you will get beat up, but you can do it. The rest of the bunker and everything. I don't think. Oh, here's our boy, the super. What did I actually call him? Just, yeah, the super land mola. He's not even a super moldorm. He's a super land mola. I don't know why the notes said super moldorm. Huh, interesting. The shop that literally I don't think a single soul has purchased anything from. You've got a magic jar, a fairy, and arrow ammunition. Wow. Wow. What great items to buy in Eiyuu. Oh, here's you have to burn the rope and everything. Oh my goodness. There's Shino. There it is. There's the Carnelia scene. My goodness. Waste of money. That is correct. That is correct. Here's some Lost Lineage stuff that got imported. You might recognize, maybe imported a little too directly. You might recognize this dungeon from one of my videos I did as part of a special one year. Maybe also 2014 now that I think about it. I can't remember. Maybe 2013, I don't know. It's going to be a bit tough, yeah. Whether or not it's a good thing, Evan has told me that he thinks Truth is the best thing I designed in Eiyuu. Whether or not that's good is like totally up to your perspective. But yeah. Oh man, what the flit is this? This is like old Lost Lineage stuff. Oh yeah, here's like your return to Truth. You can tell where all the tiles were imported and whatever. You can kind of see it on page 1 here. There's all the Vadi faces. There was supposed to be something else. Yeah. Here's like the dark version of Westmore, that city that got imported from Lost Lineage, actually. Evan, I know, right? That's like, I enjoyed building Truth, and then Evan is like, Truth is the best thing you've ever built, and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't know what to do with this information. Do I like, I'm like immediately grateful for the praise, or am I like, so that means it's too difficult? Because remember, one of the crazy parts about Eiyuu is I only had 3 playtesters, right? Evan, Spaceman Dan, and Moosh were credited as the 3 playtesters. And so, like, I mean, yeah. They were all part of the same group, and they were very good at ZC, so that was why I put down, yeah, Eiyuu's difficulty was rated about an average of 5 by playtesters. Just really bad statistics from your boy Teamudf. And here's Saint's Gate and everything. Oh, there she is. There's Estelle. I tried to shoehorn Estelle into more things. Maybe her name was Elle, actually. Estelle or Elle? One of those two for sure. I've got a couple Estelles in my other works, so I could just be mixing them up. Maybe her name was Elle, actually, at some point. Alright, here's the pyramid tower that I built at some point. This is originally where... I don't think that's here, is it? Is that overworld segment here somewhere? Yeah. So this is originally where the Veined Tomb is supposed to be in Lost Lineage, and then you could get to the runic pyramid. Oh, I'm sorry, the rune pyramid here. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know, just a lot of fond memories and everything. And then, of course, Soltis. Soltis, let's take a look at our boy Soltis, just so people who haven't seen it before. Where would it be? 15, I guess. So, like, those of you who have played Soltis, you kind of have a shape of the map in your head, right? There's side warps everywhere to make this freaking dungeon work. This dungeon literally is just using any open space on this map to make it fit, so I just literally have to side warp you all over the place, which is the only reason that this dungeon did not have a map. I didn't put a map, I didn't put spacebar map or anything in this dungeon because it is literally just scattered among any open screen on this map. There's no rhyme or reason to where the positions of the floors are. Everything just is taken care of with side warps if I need you to go to a particular location. There is no continuity here except for, like, the room. Most of the rooms themselves are connected together. Let's see if yeah, here's an example. There's a layer trick here that sends you to the right, but the room to the right is like the first floor of the dungeon. Instead, we have to go to this room down and to the right or something from there. So this room connects to this room, and just, yeah. Why I did this, I don't know. So this would have been... So the final map looks like it would have been 18 in the base release of Eiyuu. And then obviously when I started doing remaster and everything, I just imported more maps and made more maps or whatever. But yeah, just a ridiculous amount of stuff. I don't know. I think that might be all I have to talk about in terms of, like, the remastered version. Obviously, I wanted to try to finish the story. I was going to give you a couple more dungeons to play. I wanted one dungeon to have you tag team with Carnelia. You would attempt to solve puzzles together in a partitioned sky tower. So the gist was there'd be a center platform in the middle of the dungeon, and you would use it to go up and down floors. And Carnelia would disappear onto certain floors. Zelos would go onto certain parts of the floors. You would solve a puzzle and get Carnelia to go down a path or something. Then she would be able to hit a button and open a door for you. This is all stuff that was, like, probably way too complicated and convoluted for me to actually sit down and do it. Some of this I did ponder in the 255 version, so, like, maybe toward the end of 2023, when we were first learning about 255, I was like, oh, this could be my chance to do, like, the Sky Tower with Zelos and Carnelia or whatever. I honestly just never got around to it. I never felt the need. I can't ever promise that Eiyuu Remastered will even be available anywhere except on my computer or Dark Force computer. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun to ponder, you know, can I cut down all the meat in this story and just reduce it to one quest so people can finally have the ending that they deserve. I always try to treat my, like, readers and viewers with as much respect as I can. I want my characters to feel like they've been used to their fullest potential or whatever. So it always kind of, like, I always just kind of feel like I let people down when I don't get to finish things like Eiyuu Remastered or Lost Lineage or Tales from Cyrodiil or that which shall not be named and so on and so forth. And I don't know, so just looking back at this stuff is just kind of like, maybe there was potential here, but I don't know, who knows now? Maybe we'll figure it out some other way. Who the flit knows, chat? But yeah, so we've been going for about an hour. Why don't we have some fun? Kind of an abrupt transition, but if you want to learn just a little bit more about Eiyuu or the Lost Lineage series or whatever, get some more trivia out before we head off for the day here, why don't we do the... Come on. Why don't we do the Teamudf Fabulously Unfair Quiz, the Eiyuu Lost Lineage series edition. I'm not gonna grade you or anything, just, you know, if you want to shout answers out in the chat, if you want to think of them to yourself, if you just want to have some fun or whatever, let's enjoy ourselves here. We're gonna have some fun. I'll give you the answers and some explanations and some trivia along the way here. But yeah, so why don't we begin? Question 1, what year was Eiyuu first worked on? Was it in fact first worked on in 2014, 2013, 2012, or 2011? where did the concept for Eiyuu, like, first finally come into fruition here? What was happening? Who thinks they got it? Maybe give like 30 seconds here for each one. We have a D guess, we got a couple C's. 2012. Dark Foregoing 2013. It is 2013. It is in fact 2013. 2012 is for BA, which would go on to become Lost Lineage. Now, what I did manage to hunt down to supplement this question is the original 2013 summer 2-week quest contest post made on Pure ZC, where your boy Teamudf was at one point listed as one of the competitors. Yeah, this was the place where I decided, okay, I can't finish Lost Lineage as a 2-week quest and it would break a ton of rules because I already had a ton of stuff down from Lost Lineage from 2012. But then I started going on these walks and everything around my neighborhood. I would like clear my head, I would work out, I'd go on runs and listen to music, and I'd be like, man, you know what? I bet I could write a prequel for Lost Lineage. And so that, Eiyuu, my goodness, yeah. So even though I worked on it in summer 2013, it actually wasn't released until summer 2014. I took the extra year. Weirdly enough, the quest was finished in 2013. And when I say finished, I mean like you probably couldn't beat it because there might have been bugs. But I did have enough to probably enter the contest in 2013. Would I have been disqualified for the quest not being able to be completed, though? Probably. I'm pretty sure there were a couple game-ending either bugs or just things I missed or whatever. Especially the eventing system was not nearly as complicated in 2013, so I don't think that much would have been a problem. I just think there were like missing flags and triggers and stuff. I don't think you could get through Sanskrit Temple. I think one of the Sanskrit Temple flags was missing, so you physically couldn't get to the boss door. It's just some other goofy stuff. Alright, so in the original 2013 contest version, which Eiyuu dungeon did Team design in roughly 3 hours on his laptop during a power outage? So at some point there was a power outage, and I had my laptop fully charged, and I really wanted to work on Eiyuu because it was for the contest version. I've told this story on stream a few times, yeah. This one is actually not unfair. I've actually told the story a couple times. Was it Braceda, Sanskrit, Zaflonge, or Elise's house? It is actually like pretty hot lore. Well, the power came back after 3 hours, Tara, so I didn't need it anymore. Alright, B and C are very popular. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying it lasted longer. Yeah, back then I had a really good laptop. It's kind of crappy now. It's actually the same laptop. It's actually the same laptop. I'm sure, I don't know if it would last that long, but ZC probably didn't take that much power. It is Zaflonge! It is Zaflonge! Yes, indeed. I designed the entirety of the flunge based off of Nibiru's hole from Parallel Worlds of all things, so... You know, Teamudf and his infinite reference to, like, Parallel Worlds here. Yeah, Brace Dust is kind of like that way. This is too big. There's no shot that he did Brace Dust. But any of the other ones are probably believable, especially with the lore of Sanskrit. So I don't know, but yeah, it was the flunge indeed. So very good. Alright, who was the original villain of Eiyuu in the 2013 plans? Was it Truth, Duke, Raphael, or Zelos himself? Who in fact was the original villain? Therefore, going with Zadukmeister. totally paying attention. Don't lie to me, Scorpio. Old Classic D. Alright. He's running it. C, but your gut says D because you want that heal run. B feels like bait. Well, it is the fabulously unfair quest. What if the entire thing was bait? It was, in fact, always truth. I didn't ever mess with this. I was just like, screw it. Truth can just have 2 quests worth of villainhood. It was, in fact, always truth. Truth's kind of been around for a while. Ever since I did that goofy false dungeon or whatever, and I designed Truth to contradict it, I was just like, man, this guy just needs to be like the ultimate bad guy for everything. Alright, which of these wild Eiyuu development situations are true? Space them out a little bit here because I went ham on this one. Alright. In trying to close a cheesable path in the Flunge right before release, Team created a soft lock that required a day 1 update. Team tried writing a script to allow more than 4 tile warps on a screen and accidentally created the event branch script that ended up holding Eiyuu's story tracking together. Team released Eiyuu without having completed a 100% playthrough from start to finish. The original Eiyuu had a sword as the main weapon. It was at one point possible to obtain the Mirror Tunic, but since nobody in early playtesting or Let's Plays found it, Team silently removed it during an update. Or are all 5 of those things true? This probably should have been further down the page. This is a really weird, tough question compared to a lot of the others. I guess I wrote this very quickly last night. This is definitely one of the harder questions in there. However, I will say that you can kind of narrow it down based on the fact that we just looked at the original document. The fact that we just looked at the original document means that D and F both have to be false, because we were still talking about the wand. So I goobed you. I goobed a couple of you, it looks like. Alright. The other troll, that's a little more subtle, is it does say are true, not is true. It's both A and C. So anyone who voted C, you could give yourself the point, but A is also actually true. I screwed up and was hunting around the Flunge for something. I'll show you actually which screen. Oh, I closed it, right. I shouldn't have done that, huh? Then I should have kept the quest up. Yeah, that one was just me having a little fun, though. Alright, where is the Flunge? It's on 7, right? Yeah, I can show you exactly which screen it is. The thing I sadly don't remember is what happened with it. That's the part that I've kind of, like, forgotten. But this screen... This screen on the Flunge, the one with the pit going down, I closed part of this path for some reason. I don't remember why. And it turned out that, like, I had just forgotten, oh shoot, that's like the only way to finish the Flunge if you don't have another certain item in your inventory. And so, of course, people, like, started playing the quest on day 1, and then someone posted on the forum page, they were like, what the heck is, I can't, like, solve the Flunge, what's going on here? So I read their prompt, and I went back and I said, oh shoot, I have to, like, actually put this pit back. I can't remember why I wanted to close this pit off. So I actually did need to do a day 1 update because I, like, last minute screwed something up by just messing with the Flunge. And then, yeah, notoriously, this is probably the Eiyuu fact I've said most often on the stream. I actually released the quest and I never had a 100% fully finished playthrough from start to finish. I playtested each individual thing at some point, but I never just took the time to sit down and run through the whole quest from start to finish. So, how this quest freaking works is beyond me, because like, I didn't even give it a shot, dude. But yeah, this is just like the silly. I tried to make something up that sounded plausible. I don't know if it did, but yeah, this is just garbage coming out of my mouth, basically. And yeah, this is from the 2015 version, so it wouldn't have worked for the question. So yeah, so there you go. We always had a fun poke at Bagel for how often he would update Quest 744 back in the day. And then, of course, you know, to get my karma, to get my bad karma run going, I gotta update Eiyuu on day one. Rip, dude, the ultimate embarrassment. But yeah. Alright, which of these Eiyuu items was supposed to have its own dungeon, but was later moved to Brace Dust? Yeah, honestly, the only reason I even talk about Eiyuu in such high regard is because it's like a big stroke of luck to me that it was received as well as it was. I know for sure I could have made it better, but just like the circumstances, the way that I produced it, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of weird things. Fife. How about the fire fife, Teamudf? There we go. The fire boomerang, the fire fife, the hook shot, or the magic book itself. I actually think there's a decent way you can logic through this one if you're familiar with the quest. Rainstorm going with El Hookshotterino. Dark 4 is going between the Fire Fife and the Hookshot. Or, Dark 4, would you like the E answer, the Fife Fife? We can bring the Fife Fife back if you're not sure now. Okay. It is, for a Teamudf quest, it is just kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere, right? You would suspect that Teamudf, infinite fan of the hookshot, would have prepared a big giant dungeon for the hookshot, but he didn't for some reason. I wish I could even remember most of the thought process for this, or I was just like, let's do a big giant hookshot playground. I wagered this had to do with the 2-week thing, because the hookshot is in the 2-week version. I don't freaking know what happened here. I must have just decided, alright, well, it goes in that random room in Brace Dust. I mean, that's kinda it. Yeah, it's just kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere. Very unceremonious pedestal. You can come in if you've got the bow. You can come in if you've got magic. You can come in if you get the blood note. It's just kind of like at some point come in and get the hook shot. I guess, I don't know. All right, where did the inspiration for the spooky house in Miso come from? So this infamous spooky house. That there's re-dead noises and there's blank hallways. You fall through the floor and you have to stand on these boots to keep your footing, and then you wait only to get teleported to another mysterious room and you get a heart piece for your troubles. And then most people never return to that house because they're just like, okay, I don't want to know what's going on in that house. Was it SCP Containment Branch, Ao Oni, Lost Lineage, or Pale Soul? The old spooky house south of Player Goth. Dark 4 going with Pale Soul. Rainstorm attempting Ao Oni. the hilarious part about this is I almost spoiled the answer to this one by talking about something else earlier in the document discussion. This one actually comes straight out of Lost Lineage itself, from the Westmore discussion, where you had to go through the spooky version of Westmore. You would go through City Hall, but it would be like all dark and bloody and everything. I actually streamed that variant of the quest at one point, which is the craziest part, but you gotta go way back to like the Justin TV days, where I was just like hanging out with Evan and Satellite and a bunch of people in a call, and I just streamed what I had of Lost Lineage one day. But yeah, Aoni is like one of those famous RPG Maker horror games or whatever. Yeah, this one's kind of obtuse though. I don't even think I like the wording of it, but again, it's a fake quiz, so who cares? Alright, Truth's aesthetic and gimmick originally comes from which of Team's unreleased quests? Is it Triple Threat, Pale Soul, Silent Fade, or Lost Lineage? Oh, babe, now we're really digging deep. Now we're digging deep into the pile. Yeah, Aoni is the guy with the big purple dude. He do the purple. So the dark version of, by which I mean like, oh, it's not in this version. Okay, rip. I guess I opened a different version of the quest. Okay. Oh, there you go. Anyway, figure it out. Okay. Dark Force gonna double down. He's convinced that Pale Soul's gotta be at Rainstorm going Silent Fade. A for the three-way. I'm trolling you. It's all of them. Every single one of my quests has this aesthetic in it. Every single one of them. You're all correct. Every last one of them has this freaking aesthetic and dungeon type in it, dude. There was not a one I built back then that didn't have that freaking aesthetic. Yeah. Every single one of them, dude. Alright, here's like an actual question. Who was not in the original plans for Eiyuu and got added later? Carnelia, Duke, Raphael, or Kari? The freebie, 2 points. Yeah, keep track of your scores. Have some fun with it. Rainstorm going with Kari. Uh-oh, Evan heard us talking about him. I have Evan messages on Discord now. he's lurking. Oh no. I forgot to say at the beginning of the video that all of this is like to the best of my memory, but eh. Scorpio going with Raphael. Dark 4 also. Well, I guess he's trying to decide whether he thinks it's Kari. Spooky. Spookin' Park. Well, I mean, we did go through the document, so yeah. we did in fact just go through the document, so there you go. Yeah. Very good, Captain. Captain Sir Storm even presented the evidence. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, at some point, I think I just decided that Duke needed to, like, have a reason he was doing this other than to get revenge on the Saito clan. So I was like, alright, well, I'll give him, like, a dead wife or a dead girlfriend or something that he can be trying to avenge, and he can either blame the Saito for it or whatever. And that was how I started making all those goofy poetry things in Sanskrit and whatever. People didn't get that those poetry things about Kari were all written by Duke or whatever, so I didn't really present it too well anyway, I don't think, but yeah. So there you go. Very good, very good. Why is Brace Des named the way it is? Was it a pun based on bracing windy heights? Was it a corruption of a Japanese phrase team thought sounded cool from Yu-Gi-Oh? Does it have a similar name to a dungeon from an old Zelda roleplay team used to do with his friends? Or is there no special reason and it's just a name? Why is Brace Des named Brace Des? Huh. The crazy part about this one is we've actually, like, I've actually shared the story on stream before. I have actually shared the story on stream before. Who's willing to go in deep here? Who thinks they can dig deep and remember what in the flit happened here? Dark 4 is gonna try to do the corrupted Japanese phrase. Scorpio has been slain. Man, here it is, chat. Here it is! The original Brace Des temple from those old goofy roleplays that I used to do with just 1,000 people back in the day. We had a whole giant thing. I drew out maps for it and everything. Of course, this looks nothing like what you saw in Eiyuu. I think it's supposed to be like a snowy temple with like sky overhangs or something. I'm trying to remember like how I used to design these based on like the colors of the rooms or whatever. I couldn't tell you what half this notation means because there's no legend. I can tell you where like locked doors and boss doors are, but yeah, look how like big and linear this thing is, though, dude. You have to go all the way to flit over here. It's just a mess. Just a mess. Holy flit. Yeah, just an absolutely whacked way. What's the date on this file, by the way? August 29th, 2006. Holy Christmas, dude. The Brace Dust is an old dungeon, apparently. My god. Ooh, can you do it with Sanskrit, though? It continues a tradition of Team inserting one real religious name into his works. Did Kate suggest it due to the name of the dungeon's music track? Did Team like the way the Sanskrit language looked? Or there's no special reason and it's just a name? Okay, Rainstorm's, he's like, I don't feel any of these here. We're gonna go, there's no special reason. Scorpio hoping that his favorite letter comes through for him. Trying to feel it out. Yeah, should have used that in inscription, yeah. I can make an inscription thing. Alright, Dark Force jumping on the bandwagon. Nah, I just thought it was a cool language. Yeah. Nothing too fancy, but that's the end of it. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Why the flit not? Can you try it with the Flunge? Was it a corruption of the title Plunge from a Lost Lineage dungeon? Is it the name of an attack in Team's Yu-Gi-Oh! Destiny's Horizon story? Was Zafrange a random in-joke with Team's roleplay group at the time and he changed the spelling to make it less goofy? Or is there no special reason and it's just a name? Ah, yeah, how about that, Rainstorm? How about that? How does that work? Scorpio's sticking to his guns, though. How'd that happen? Rainstorm's gonna give Zafrange a try. Dark 4 doesn't know anything about Destiny's Horizon, except when he's drunk now. It is the name of an attack in Destiny's Horizon, though. This is a true statement, but came after the creation of the game. So the only reason that C is wrong is because it's in the wrong order. Then I started yelling, Zafrange! I even kind of did it a bunch during the stream here, I'm pretty sure. But yeah. So C is like the kind of I'd probably give partial credit or something like that. But yeah. This was actually one of the harder questions to write because I'm like, how do I not make the Yu-Gi-Oh thing stand out? Yeah, I gave Blaine Phoenix's Ace Monster Arisen. The attack name was Remiser Flunge, and that part I don't know why I made it that way. But yeah. So there you go. You did it, El Scorpiorino. Alright, enough of that crap though. Which scene was scrapped from Eiyu's final release? Was it a Bloodsword Saito clan fight in Winterfell Path? Was it Carnelia revealing she knew why Zealous was at Myso all along? Did Duke at one point kill Shino on screen? Or did the Queen of Hail stalk Zealous outside of Sanskrit Temple? I'm pretty sure we've also talked about this one, I just don't remember how long it's been. Alright, Rainstorm thinks he's got a memory lock on A. Dark 4 also gonna try A. That is it, my friends. Very good, very good. Yeah, at some point, I wanted you to be able to escape the chase sequence with Duke and Raphael inside Sanskrit Temple. If you did that, you would get the bonus heart container early, but you would also get to escape to Winterfell Path on your own, where you would see a bunch of Bloodsword and Saito clan members just fighting it out, and there would possibly be a boss fight or something. I wasn't quite sure how to list that out in the answer choices here, so we just lobbed it in here with a very good job, very good. Which of these dungeons was scrapped from Eiyuu? Was it the Tower of Heralds, Mona Grove, the Nightmare Nexus, or were in fact no dungeons scrapped? Dark 4 running the letter B, Rainstorm running the letter D. Scorpio going with the Nightmare Nexus. Lagged out hard. Oh, kill Twitch now. Yeah, Rainstorm noticed it. I did provide a hint for this one. I did provide a hint. There was no room on the maps for any more dungeons. All of these things were Lost Lineage exclusives. Every single one of them. There were, in fact, no dungeons left behind in the Eiyuu design philosophy. Yeah, the original map went to map 18, and boy, howdy, was all that crap full. I don't think I could have fit anything in there if I wanted. Alright. Alright, we're getting a little more into the overall scope of the series now. We don't have too many more, I don't think. Let's see. Zealous obtaining the Cane of the Goddess is non-canon. In the canon plans for the Lost Lineage series, who does obtain the Cane of the Goddess? Is it Fawn, Sat, Janus, or Raphael? This one I think gets told kind of every once in a while. This one might be locked inside someone's head. Every so often we end up with this story. Scorpio's gonna trust that sneaky prick Raphael. Rainstorm's gonna try Janice. Darkford did not get this item, so he's, yeah, he is not too sure. That's okay. It is Janice, though. Yeah, this is the thing where I was eventually going to have you come back in Lost Lineage. You were going to come back to Myso and see it all destroyed. And basically, in Zelos' absence, Janice went crazy, trying to be the best member of the dojo, and he takes over. And with nobody else to stop him, he solves the Grand Championship thing, or the what did I call it? The True Championship storyline. And he is the one who obtains the Cane of the Goddess. The boss fight for this, I think, would have been kind of fun. The idea is that the Cane of the Goddess is basically the Cane of Burna, except it's ridiculously busted. It takes like almost no magic power to use. So what the plan was, is you would have to survive an onslaught from Janice for this boss battle, with the premise being that Zelos knows that Janice is basically invincible with this cane, and there's no way he can touch him. But the thing that's not invincible is Janice's, like, actual physical being. If he lets Janice run out of magic power, then Zelos can just get to him. So you would basically have to survive the Janice fight instead of actually duking it out with him. And then you would get, like, 1 or 2 good shots on him, and that would be the end of it. So there wouldn't be, like, a whole lot of HP to crawl through. You'd probably even just one-shot him. If I'm completely honest, that could, like, play to Janice's character, that he laid too hard into the Cane of the Goddess, and the second that he runs out of magic, he's just, like, completely vulnerable. So yeah, that probably would have been kind of fun. I'm not sure what you would do during the boss fight, though. Maybe it would have to be like a Toho kind of thing, or just various attacks or obstacles. I'm not too sure, but yeah, you would eventually show down with him in Lost Lineage. Alright. The Lost Lineage series was originally 3 games. Eiyuu, Lost Lineage, and a sequel. Since Eiyuu was the Japanese name for hero, Team wanted to end the series with the 3rd game being the Japanese word for villain. However, due to a sloppy translation at the time, Team accidentally named the quest the Japanese word for what? Was it laundry, important point, guy, or lost boy? So, I had looked up what I thought was the word for villain in Japanese, and it just, I guess, somehow, I must have been using a crappy service, or I didn't double check it or whatever, and so I accidentally ended up with another name entirely, and someone called me out on it back in the day too. I was explaining to someone who knew Japanese what I was attempting to do with the quest names, and then they were like, why did you name it that? That means, like, this thing. Why would you call it that thing? It's B, yeah. It's B. I tried the word kanjin. For some reason, I got that kanjin meant freaking villain. And then, like, later on, someone was like, important place or point or whatever. Like, why'd you name it that? Because it doesn't seem to fit the narrative. Like, it almost kind of does, but it really doesn't at the same time. It was important point. Yeah. So what ended up happening, I'm not sure to this day what happened. I've tried to replicate the translation error by, like, going back and forth on several sites and, like, seeing if I can mess with something. I've tried, like, Babelfish and Google Translate and some other services or whatever. I'm not sure what happened that I ended up with villain out of the word kanjin. I don't know. But yeah, so, like, one of those really old, ancient Japanese locations or something like that that they see as very sacred or important. That was what I kind of got out of my research for this, but I don't know. Yeah. Oh no, Steph activated Google mode. Here, hang on, let me open Google mode really quick. Essential, important, crucial, vital, yeah. Yeah, one of these things. See, like, down the page, she found it. Down the page, it does say villain. So, I don't know. Maybe that's how I got it. It's really weird to me, though. Because it's definitely not like the most used one. So I don't know. This is why we don't take the quizzes seriously, because I'm not sure. Chinese person, especially Han Chinese, interesting. Yeah, something like that, I don't know. There are just 5,000 uses for this thing of fundraising tournaments, wow. My goodness. So yeah, I ran with that for a while. The crazy thing though is I wish this answer, while it was the one I was looking for, I'm almost certain that what I was told was way sillier back then, but I couldn't find anything that triggered like a core memory on like, ew, why did I name it that? Because I'm sure when the person called me out, they were like, it was like much stranger. It was like almost on the level of laundry, but it didn't link to any here. Maybe like, let me look a little closer at that page. Does something like stand out to me as being like particularly silly? Because I swear it was like sillier than this. We were gonna have this discussion regardless, so I'm not even... I don't know, I can't tell. The silliest thing on here is like introspection, but I don't freaking know. I don't know. Either way, I somehow ended up with a bad or maybe literal or sloppy translation back then. But yeah. Oh no, this stuff. Who would have been the villain of... Villain, Kanjin. So the third quest, would it have been Truth as a Sheikah? Would it have been a clone of Zelos controlled by Truth? Was it our boy Duke Gallagher, or was it finally time for the Queen of Hail? Scorpio going with that old clone of Zelos. Therefore gonna forfeit. Mr. Booyah gonna give Duke Gallagher his big heel main event run. Rainstorm gonna go with the Queen of Hail. It's Truth as a Sheikah. Truth as a Sheikah. So I eventually, at some point, you might remember that Truth is originally supposed to be Bongo Bongo in like the really, really old plans. And so Bongo Bongo, of course, was supposed to be like either this Sheikah or this Kakariko inhabitant at some point or whatever that had their arms sliced off or whatever. So in Lost Lineage, after you did away with Truth's like really evil Bongo Bongo form or whatever, I was gonna have him somehow resurrect as just a human Sheikah in the third quest. And he would basically attempt to complete the wall of the trifecta or some garbage. I don't remember what the name of this thing was, but it was a wall that let you rewrite history as long as you had all three of the mystical items, the Mask of Truth, the Lens of Truth, and the Stone of Agony. If you had all three of them, then you could just use this wall to completely undo history and rewrite it any way you wish. So the first half of the quest, you would basically try to stop Truth from getting the other two items. And as far as I remember, you were even supposed to lose the big, like, midpoint fight to him at some point. I was just gonna, like, pretend that the quest was like, over at the halfway mark or something. And you would go fight Truth, and he would just, like, obliterate you completely, and then there would be a second half of the quest. These ideas are so old, I couldn't actually find any documentation on the third quest, this like so-called Kanjin villain quest or whatever. I'm not even sure I wrote out plans for this quest at this point, because y'all know I tend to not delete like anything, and I couldn't find it. I have no idea where this thing went or whatever, but yeah. Some criminal in Hyrule of great power. That is correct. Oops. That wasn't what I wanted to do. There we go, okay. Some great power. Indeed. This quest has not existed in the back of my head for a long time now. I think just at some point I thought it was too cheap of an out to be like, alright, you deal with this Truth thing for 2 whole quests, you know, Eiyuu and Lost Lineage, and you finally beat it in Lost Lineage, and then he just says, LOL, I'm back, you pieces of crap, in the third quest. It just seemed like such a cop-out So I probably didn't focus too much energy on it, and then I just have kind of forgotten about it as the time has passed here. So my memory fades very much, except for like these few sparse details about the wall and Truth becoming his more human form or whatever. But it's kind of speaking on this type of situation here. For those of you who are like really not in the know, what I intended to do was kind of make all of this a precursor to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, of all things. So like, the point would have basically been that at the very end, Ganondorf returns and just is like too much for Zelos and Carnelia or whatever, or Truth is gone and Duke is gone or something, and so then I would have ended the series with the goddesses deciding that they needed to flood the kingdom, and that would basically just be the open path to the Wind Waker. I have no idea why I would sacrifice my own cast for this, because like, I'm certain the reason I got rid of it is to be like, alright, these characters are way too developed to just be like sacrificial lambs for the Wind Waker. And I love the Wind Waker, but I was like, at that point, Zelos and Duke and all these things, they've been such a huge part of my development period that I'm just kind of like, alright, I probably shouldn't just job them out to Ganondorf, even though Ganondorf would be like, you know, very powerful. So I don't know. Was I maybe upholding the lore? Because, you know, remember, the whole thing about the original Eiyuu and Lost Lineage is that the Saito clan and the Pure Guard are attempting to basically use Zelos as the new hero, and Duke himself believes that he's a descendant of Link. So, like, Duke is attempting to find the Master Sword and everything. You can find out more about that in the Nonstop Discussion 153 that Rainstorm helped link out earlier. Haha, puns. But, yeah. So, I don't know, I was probably still latched onto that. We're like, okay, neither of these guys are the chosen hero. We just have to wait for Wind Waker Link to awaken or something like that. But I don't know. Eventually, I'm just like, this just jobs out my cast too much, and they should be their own cast. They should be their own characters. And so finally, I did eventually commit to just everybody being their own thing. Was that the right move? Probably. Probably. Alright. Which of the unreleased quests in the full planned Lost Lineage anthology, as far as 2016 goes, which one of them contained a dungeon that traveled through 3 points in time, allowing Duke to stop Raphael early and create a best ending for the entire series, thus erasing the need for Zelos' adventures in the first place? So here's kind of like the big giant one where I'm kind of like, all right, let's look at the series as an overall scope here. When I came back in 2016, what did I eventually want to do with it? I found this wacko time travel idea, and I was like, what if, you know, Duke is just basically the hero, and he finds this temple and goes back, and he stops Raphael, but the like kind of weird wholesome part to it is that I pondered, okay, but wait, Duke like understands that Carnelia and Zelos had an impact on each other. So my plan for this was that after he foils Raphael, Duke basically still believes that the right outcome is for Zelos and Carnelia to meet each other. And so my plan for like a post-credit sequence was to just have Duke go kidnap Carnelia or something. Like, he just hunts her down, and then he makes sure that Zelos finds him and rescues Carnelia so that they can interact with one another and meet each other. And then Duke just kind of sails off into the sunset, and he's like, okay, everything is correct now, see you nerds. And then he just bails on the whole thing. So far, both people have answered Endless Blue. Endless Blue was the quest where you controlled Dukemon, the Duke. Scorpio going for the letter D. This goofy villain quest. I accept either B or C as an answer here. Because in 2016... So how this works... If I can attempt... if I can attempt this here, I'll accept either one for this. Endless Blue is the quest where you're supposed to play as Duke. And so I was like, okay, well, it would make sense for this feature to show up in the quest where you play as Duke. But the problem is that Lost Lineage hasn't been made yet. So if I have Duke go back and stop Raphael in this quest, it's like a little strange in that it almost doesn't make sense because you haven't like seen the outcome in Lost Lineage yet. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll put my energy on Lost Lineage. What I'll do is I'll jump around these big gigantic hoops or whatever, and Zelos will encounter the temple in Lost Lineage. And at the same time, I need Duke to encounter the dungeon in Endless Blue so that the two run into each other. And in Lost Lineage, your perspective is that Zelos is enough of a warning for Duke to realize, oh shoot, I have to do something about this. And so the plan is that after you play the dungeon as Zelos in Lost Lineage, you know what to do when you go back to Endless Blue as Duke, and then you can get the secret ending. So basically, what I had to do to make this freaking work is I had to basically finish both quests and make these interactions similar in both of them, but somehow the one in Lost Lineage is the one that gives you the hint for what to do in Endless Blue, and the secret ending was really in Endless Blue the entire time, but you have to like discover it through playing the other quest, Lost Lineage. And this was just a gigantic mess of crap, basically. So like, is it B that's the catalyst, or is it C that's the catalyst? I honestly, like, I'm good with like either interpretation there, basically. Just, let me see if I can even find, where would Endless Blue be here? You actually saw a decent amount of Endless Blue earlier. Whoops. When I was piecing through this thing here, it was like this area here was Endless Blue with the forest and everything. I don't have any idea how it works beyond like me just trying to very craftily set it up and just be extra super duper mega careful that it's really hard to stumble into the good ending in Endless Blue without lore on Lost Lineage. Which is why it's kind of like I have to accept B as an answer, because you could see one as the catalyst for the other, and so on and so forth. So like Lost Lineage has the dungeon, but Endless Blue does, and it's a gigantic freaking mess. It's insanity is what it is here. But yeah. So the short mini quest for Duke, you know, because Teamudf can never make a simple idea, basically, right? Teamudf has to I have to make like super convoluted puzzle designs and story and whatnot for just every little thing. So this little goofy, let's make a 3 dungeon mini quest for Duke to be the main character here. Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, what if we actually just control the entire timeline through like 2 or 3 different quests or whatever? I don't know. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I overcomplicate like literally everything that I touch, but yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's see, what is this guy over here? Oh, this is the cave that gets you to something. Oh, there's Froggy. Froggy. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, and then ZC crashed. I know that ZC tends to crash on some of the older quests or whatever. But yeah. I don't have a clue. Oh. Did that bring it back? Oh, I gotta like, hang on. I gotta apparently reopen the whole. Well, you don't need to see too much there. So yeah, I don't know. Would it have worked? Maybe. Was it very convoluted? Yeah, but that was the kind of stuff I enjoyed writing, the very complicated kind of time travel stuff. So I don't know. So Duke could have perhaps been the entire hero of the story. I don't know. All right, question 8. Huh. I don't remember writing that.